Hey, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, loyal viewers. I'm Kerry, the nosy housefrau. And today I'm sticking my nose in on the piping hot tea in the beautiful world of Shane Dawson. I'll put it up here. Did I say it wrong? Sean Dawson's... I can't talk. I have been sitting here for hours with one cup of coffee that I'm nursing even while it's cold, trying to figure out how I'm going to express myself, because that's just kind of the mood I'm in. I'm not totally exhausted. I did get glammed up to do the laundry. I'm not going anywhere. I just have such conflicting feelings about everything that I'm just in this kind of state of cognitive dissonance, and I didn't know how I was going to approach this, what I was going to say. Am I going to lean on the pros or the cons? I'm just kind of all over the place, so I'm going to cover it all. I did take notes watching it, and let me just say this. Expectations are everything. You know, I went into this series with a certain amount of expectations, and it was everything that I expected, so nothing shocked me and nothing left me feeling that I didn't get what I was expecting. I didn't have expectations based entirely on the trailer, and maybe that's because I'm older and experience has taught me well. It could be just because I had a gut feeling about it. I don't know. I'm a bit of a horacle. I said oracle. Now, I personally loved the 6-part series. I really think maybe it should have been left alone. I can see why they didn't, because people had a conniption when they didn't get anything, their pound of flesh or whatever else they were expecting from it. I personally loved watching it. I was fascinated with the process. I enjoyed them and their friendship. And I saw a lot of that in this next episode. I started out not as thrilled to see it. In fact, when it aired, I was watching Nadi, official Nadi Popluxe, making chicken nuggets in his kitchen, and I was having a great time, so I just stayed there. I didn't feel in a rush to see this, whereas in the past I would drop everything. In fact, I only left that stream to go make mac and cheese because it made me hungry. Yes, mac and cheese, don't judge me. Mama needs to go shopping. So, why was I so lackluster about this episode? I think there's a couple of things going on. One, it's just the place I'm in. I'm in a dark place without a hoodie. So, you know, yay for you was kind of my mood. Two, the tea with James Charles is so old. Everything they showed in this video I was pretty much expecting, except I didn't know that so much of it would be more up to date. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I saw familiar faces. That's when I perked up and was like, oh wow. They even used Dustin Dailey wearing Tawny Michelle merch, which I thought was exciting. Links below to everyone. I mean, I just was like, oh my gosh, there's Nick. And they showed this great part of Nick. I love his chemistry with Rich. And they just showed a clip that is so perfect where he's just like, they've got the footage. I love that. I love the way he does drama. The way he covers drama is just very much fun. That was a very good clip of them. They showed Petty Paige. They had Jen Love's reviews. I was just like, I've met these people. This is crazy. And Dustin in there. And Hannah's Smokey Glow. I just was about out of my chair. I was just so excited to see those people. But a lot of that was a build-up, but with no payoff. I knew there wouldn't be. It was just like people talking about stuff. It was a way of not addressing it, but at the same time, they didn't go in depth about any of that tea. And who even cares at this point about tea from last year, much earlier in the year? Might as well be 2 years in drama years. But the tea with James Charles, I was so glad they didn't get too in depth with that. And what could they really do other than show Toddy's breaking video and go, oh my gosh. From Toddy's perspective, maybe she would have preferred that to be left alone. Who knows? They showed more of Jeffrey regretting inserting himself into that. And that's all they really needed to do. I mean, if everybody found a peaceful place for that, that's the best thing they can do. So they can just live their best life and move on. Why shouldn't they? They don't have to appease us by showing us all of the carnage of the breakups in that relationship. That to me is a little bit like, I like drama as much as the next person, but I'm not, looking to see gladiators kill each other in the ring. It's a little bit much. So as far as their launch, it was everything we had seen before. I mean, there was the crash. Who couldn't see that coming a mile away when they knew they were going to sell out and stuff? Of course, there was going to be congestion on the sites, and there was going to be crashes and delays and things like that. there's nothing you can do about it. It went as smoothly as something like that can go when you have all of these people descending on a website. There's no reason to me that they shouldn't have just enjoyed it anyway. I could see how it would be stressful, though. I mean, it's his first launch. Now, let me tell you some of the stuff I loved. I love that Shane shared his past failures about the sunglasses and all of these things that he tried to get off the ground that didn't happen. That just made this all the much sweeter, I think. The friendship, when they're walking along and they're both holding Ryland's hands and Jeffrey says sister wives, and he and Shane exchange a look and just burst out laughing off of each other's expressions. That, to me, those were the high points. I just loved seeing that. There's these two people. They're both so successful now. They're off to live their best lives. They're jet-setting. They're friends. I like watching their money and just seeing all that stuff. Jeffrey was amazing with his looks. Was he not serving looks with like the fuzzy Fendi and all that, the hair and the makeup and the outfits? That outfit that he wore to Mall of America was insane. Just beautiful looks, and that I loved that. That was a high point, his fashion. So there was some controversy with a couple in this video. At a certain point, there's a woman putting on the jacket, and the husband says, "You can't get those over your bleep." It turns out that that couple is awful, by most people's accounts. In the video that Shane used, they're fine, but you don't have to dig very deep to see that for most people, they're on the level with Westboro Baptist. Not only did that woman use the N-word, she doubled down on it, and then she mocked it, and then later said she just used that word because she was emotional, and anybody would, because that person was stealing from her, etc. I don't think anybody would use that word at any time over emotion, but I will leave it up to you to decide. How responsible is a vlogger for the people they put in their video? Did you take that as an endorsement? Personally, I took it as a lesson for all of us to be careful about the clips we use, but there's no way he knew that because they were running a search. They had a lot of footage to go through. They're editing a lot of stuff. That name comes up. They use the footage for their video, and it turns out the person is awful. I think we all might want to take a look at who it is that of the clips we're using, but I could totally see myself doing that. I have gone down rabbit holes, and you've got both feet in before you realize what a hole it is. You can very easily miss that because the clips that they're using, it's a very superficial level that they are interacting with these people. So yeah, I wish that he would have done his research on that. Absolutely. I think that it's a good idea for all of us to take a look at what we're putting in our videos, but don't take out the thumb screws. I'm not going to get on a bandwagon of hate and say that those people are a reflection of his views. He goofed. So just to further expound on how I could have missed this, 3 days before watching this, I got a DM from a friend, and if you want, you can put your name in the comments and I will pin it, but I won't say it or speak for you. But somebody asked me if I knew who Shani was, and I didn't. So I went to her channel on YouTube. They've got, I think, at least 4 of them. So I went to the channel with Shani's name in it, and I didn't have to dig deep. Within 2 minutes, I saw her having a conversation with her husband, not just not just using the N-word, but talking about a black man saying you couldn't hide in this town at night, about referring to the color of his skin, that he wouldn't be able to hide. And that was enough for me. There's no good context for that. And there's no good reason for a white person to use the N-word. So I was very turned off by this. And the reason I tell you is for 2 reasons. One, because I want you to know that I wouldn't race bait or say that term lightly. I don't even like to have these discussions because people go mental, straight loco every time you do. But the other thing is, 3 days later, looking at her in the Shane video, I didn't know it was her. I didn't recognize her, having just seen her. The lighting was different. The channel was different. I wasn't looking for her. And I'm very good with faces. I have the opposite of prosopagnosia, face blindness. I scored 100 on the Harvard face recognition test that you can take online, by the way. I'll see if I can link that below. My point is, I didn't recognize her. And if I were going through things very quickly and I just saw that clip, I thought it was a nice, funny couple, just like anybody else would think. So that allowed me to cut him a little slack on that. I do think, again, it's a good idea for all of us to make sure we know who we're endorsing. And certainly being on Shane Dawson's channel is a huge boost to anyone's channel. So it would be nice if it was somebody worthy. Moving on. He did have different things than his trailer, and he expressed remorse over that he promised stuff in the trailer. He had just been saying on his Instagram, I shouldn't have posted that trailer. I just shouldn't have posted that trailer. And that was good enough for me in terms of that. I just got everything out of it that I wanted to. I felt like spending time with them was fun. But there's this expression, and probably anybody else using it has been long dead because it's probably from World War II. But the expression is staying too long at the fair. And I think this series stayed too long at the fair. And what that means, I'll explain it for people under 100, is that you can stay past the peak of when something's wonderful. If you stay too long at the fair, and this is probably true for parties today, you should kind of leave while you're still having a good time, because the idea is that you pass that peak and then the time declines. And I feel it's a little bit akin to jumping the shark. I feel like this, for me, this series stayed too long at the fair. And that could just be the place I'm in, and that could have to do with my expectations of it. I don't expect to be in the majority with that view. I just wasn't as jazzed about this one as the other one. So I think it was anticlimactic for me. I think that it was good the way it was. I too wish he hadn't shown that trailer, but you know, he did. And they were in the moment and getting excited about it and advertising it. And they might have been in more of a place where they could have covered it then. I don't think that it was a conscious clickbaity thing. But the question is, when you put something in your trailer, are you obligated to absolutely show it in your video? No, and you can explain that and apologize for it, but it's a good idea to be walking like you're talking with the trailer. It's not, I don't think he considered it ideal that it didn't happen that way. The green eyeshadow, that's been sort of a conundrum for people. They think that it should have been in there, and they're going to, I think according to a Jeffrey tweet, they are going to offer it in a new conspiracy palette if there's going to be a new mini. I don't know if they're going to make an additional one or if they're going to revise the existing one. I'm not sure. But again, I think that's one of those colors that everybody says they want to see in the palette, but nobody's going to use. That's just my opinion. A few people will use it, not maybe so many others. So just to sum it up, even though this 7th episode was kind of anticlimactic for me, I love these two together, and I probably would click on anything they collab on. And certainly it gets my dollars. I'm wearing mini controversy on my eyes today. I will link below all of the makeup that I'm wearing, including the fairy lights that everybody asks me about. From time to time I link those below. The world needs more fairy lights. I'm very eager to hear your thoughts because I can tell this is going to be one where there are a lot of differing opinions. It's a divisive topic in general, but I want to know, did you get out of it everything you wanted to? Did you love it? Did you think it was lacking something? Do you think that this series stayed too long at the fair? And have you heard anybody younger than an octogenarian use the term stayed too long at the fair? If you've listened this far, I so appreciate you and your view. As always, I will be shamelessly hawking my Patreon, my merch, my P.O. box, and my social media in the description box down below. Until next time, Hausfrau out.